This is Leafs Morning Take with Nick Alberga and Jay Rosehill.
Now we've got a fight started here right off the bat with Rosehill.
30 minutes of live, nonstop Leafs talk starts now.
Hey, what's happening? What's going on, everybody? It's the Thursday edition of Leafs Morning Take, and it's a Maple Leafs game day as they get set to host the red-hot New Jersey Devils, who have won 10 in a row. It's Nick Alberga, and I don't believe my eyes, folks. It is Jay Rosehill from Disneyland. Rosie, what's going on, buddy?
How are you, dude? Good to be back. Yeah, I was teeing up those 3 hits for a while and getting kind of hot at it, I would say, but it's nice to be live again.
Dude, you're on a roll. 2 in a row. You really brought the heat. We had 2 guests on back-to-back programs, and they were just stunned and mystified as to the staying power of what you had to say, man. It was pretty impressive. I won't lie, bud.
I'm convinced now that it's a conspiracy against me. You get all the hot guests just for yourself, and whenever I'm away, there seems to be a hot ticket item on the show, so we're going to have to address that in person.
After today's show, you won't be able to say that, and that's a perfect segue because in 10 minutes from now, if you're a big-time wrestling fan, you'll love this. If you're a fan in general of sports and hockey, you'll love this as well. Somehow got a hold of Adam Edge Copeland of WWE. He's a Hall of Famer as well, big-time Leafs fan. He's going to drop by in 10 minutes from now, so you can never say that again or I'll get Edge after you, okay? He'll kick your ass. So,
yeah, that is huge. I'm excited for this.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. So 10 minutes away, we'll have Edge. There's the tail of the tape right there. We got to bring that up with Edge coming up, but I just wanted to mention as well, remember to subscribe, tap that like button, leave us a review. Visit theleafsnation.com for the very latest. I'll have a game preview up in about an hour from now. If you have thoughts, comments, concerns, or even questions for Edge coming up, make sure to stay interactive in the YouTube chat down below. We'll get to those. And again, he's from Orangeville. So this is a local product, a local boy who's made it big, but still knows his roots and still a big-time fan of the Toronto Maple Leafs. But first and foremost, before we get over the boards, how is Disneyland, Rosie?
Oh, how is it? Well, we had a rough start. My 6-year-old hasn't been sick in like 3 years. Like my kids just do good with not getting sick. Night before, he gets a ripping fever. On the way to the airport, he starts going, I want to go home. I want to go home. And he's been talking about Disneyland for a week. He throws up in the car all over our backpacks and stuff. Just a rough ride on the way, and bad timing to say the least. But we made her here, and we're ready to rock. So yeah. Can't complain when you're in the sunshine.
Moral of the story, don't have kids, if you ask me. But you're so right. That last comment you made, and he'll appreciate this more and more as the trip goes on, right? You're not near Calgary anymore. You're in beautiful California, right? There is a silver lining to all this.
Yeah, it's not bad. We went swimming when we got here, so they're happy, and I think we're going to go check out a beach this afternoon. But first things first, we got to bang off this show and take care of what's really important here.
Must be nice, my man. Must be nice. Let's get over the boards right now. So I know the morning skates are happening right now, so it remains to be seen. I still got a weird feeling that it's going to be Erik Källgren. We're waiting for confirmation on the goaltenders in this game. Maybe we don't get them. Maybe we do during this show. But the New Jersey Devils have been the talk of the town in the NHL world in, say, the first 16 to 17 games, Rosie. They ride into tonight's game on a 10-game heater. It's 2 teams going in the right direction, we'll call it. Toronto and New Jersey combined 12-1-1 in November. This is going to be a clash of the Titans tonight.
Yeah, big time. Both teams hot for sure. Obviously, no one more so than Jersey. So I don't know. The thing I like about those streaks is they usually come to an end at some point in time. And I don't know. I can't think of a better time for the Maple Leafs to go up against a team like that. I feel like they're ready, and I completely, disagree if that's the theme of going with Källgren. I can't imagine why you wouldn't go with Murray. Either he's healthy or he's not. Is he healed or is he not? And he played phenomenally. Numbers were fantastic against the Penguins. Got a huge win in Pittsburgh against his former team. Hasn't played in forever. He should be absolutely flying high, confidence high. Why would you not lead with your number one goalie that you signed in the summer? I understand, well, you don't want to hurt him. Well, did you sign him to not play him so that he doesn't get hurt? Like, what are we doing here? Is he healthy or not? He played an NHL game 2 nights ago. He's ready to go. Let's go with Murray. He's hot. You got a huge team here. You're just going to throw Källgren in against the 13-3 Devils? I think that would be a huge mistake.
I love how fired up you are, and the chat is hot too. But welcome to Leafland, I will say, when it comes to goaltending. By the way, just reading on Twitter, friend of the program, Dave McCarthy of NHL Network Radio and NHL. Like, it's so Leafs, but Ilya Samsonov is in the starter's net for practice today for the morning skate. I know most of these are optional. Eric Shalgren is the second goalie, and Matt Murray, who was on the ice prior to the AM skate, has left the ice as the session begins. So if you want clarity on who's starting this fucking game for the Leafs, good luck with that, Rosie.
To me, I think that means they're going with Murray. I think he went out there early, got his
I hope
touches in,
so.
and
Or he's
that's
hurt.
what that says to me. I think it would be wicked if they went with Samsonov. I didn't think he was ready, but I'm just waiting for this team to get back to a 1-2 punch with Murray Samsonov, and you can kind of switch hit those guys. I think it's going to be a wicked goalie tandem, assuming they can stay healthy. I think we'll have two of the most solid goalies in the league, and that was the hope going into this league or into this season through preseason and the summer and whatnot. And based on what I've seen out of both of them, they're both playing damn good, and the only hiccup we've had is them both get injured. So get them both healthy, and I'd love to switch hit those guys and see what kind of a role these guys can go on.
Nothing goes according to plan when it comes to the crease in Toronto. That's the one thing I've learned probably covering this team the last 11 or 12 years. So again, your guess is as good as ours as to who's going to start this game for the Leafs. Again, the Devils are on fire. They've won 10 in a row. Toronto is too. They're 5-1-1 in November. It seems like a distant memory when they went 4-4-2 in October. And important to note too, I'm not sure how big of a metrics guy you are, but the numbers do check out in New Jersey, by the way. The one thing I've noticed about this team, Rosie, they always have the puck. They're third in goals against at 2.44, and they're first in the NHL right now on shots on goal against at 24.5. So the Leafs better make it pay. They better be efficient. This is going to be a good one. Like, I'm looking forward to this matchup because on paper, it's two of the better teams right now in the NHL.
Yeah, there's no doubt that team's playing good hockey right now, and they're going to be tough to beat. And if you do beat them, it's because you put everything together and you played a full 60 minutes and you got your game, front to back firing, because you're going to need to play good, solid team defense against these guys. Like you said, they've got puck possession. They make plays. They're in the offensive zone a ton. It's hard to get the puck back off of them. So you're going to want to play good in your D zone, keep stuff to the outside, I keep saying, and, protect your goaltender. We can't have those huge hiccups where there's just gaping holes in our system where they're just going to light you up. And then on the other side of things, we're going to need our big boys to perform offensively in the zone and take advantage of any opportunities they do get offensively, and just try to get on that board and get control of the game and frustrate that Devils team, because they haven't been, tested a lot. That's one thing about going on a heater like that, is everything seems easy, and then you've yet to understand how you're going to react when you get some adversity going. So I'd like them to get out to a good start and play a full solid game front to back. That's what it's going to take to beat this team, obviously.
I'll make this comment, the same comment I made when they faced off against Casey DeSmith twice in the last week. Vitek Vanacek is not the second coming of Martin Brodeur. I think you look at his numbers, this guy's been exceptional, very similar to Ilya Samsonov, has been really, really good. Now another former Capital goaltender, 7-0-0 in his last 8 appearances, a 1.40, a 946. I think this is when guys like you are efficient at what they do. Get in this guy's grill. Do not make life easy for him, right?
Yeah, totally. Like you say, he's cruising, but make it hard for them. Throw them off their game. You got to stay disciplined, but I would love to see them getting around the crease. Playing a little bit of greasy hockey. Maybe getting in some guys' ears, chirping off, getting some little dirty stuff going on where it doesn't get caught. You got to straddle that line, obviously, but get these guys pissed off and focused on other things other than their game plan and what they've been doing to win so many games. Throw them off of that and see how they react, and whatever it takes. And then in the meanwhile, you got to be doing your systems and doing your game plan and executing like crazy. And it's going to take everything like that to actually come together and work to beat this team tonight. But like you said, two teams who are playing really good right now. So I'm excited to watch this one. It's going to be good. I hope it's a good hockey game and it's not a bit of a stinker like sometimes these things that are built so highly turn out to be,
Yeah, I'm actually feeling a bit of a barn burner. I don't know. It seems like every time these two teams get together, and I was looking at the odds over at PointsBet Canada, potentially at the over 6.5. I was looking at the 3 meetings last season in which the Leafs won all 3 games. 2 of them hit the over, by the way. I just think you look at these two sides, and I think their best route to victory is actually scoring goals and being more offensive. And I think you look at the brand, the style of New Jersey with Dougie Hamilton on the back end. Nico Hischier is off to an unbelievable start. Jesper Bratt and Jack Hughes, the local product, right? Grew up in the GTA, has ties to this area. Watch out for him, Rosie. This guy's an absolute stud. It's hard to believe Jack Hughes is just 21 years of age.
Yeah, big time. Bringing it back to the Luke Shen interview we did not long ago, it's some of these guys, they come into the league, and obviously these first overall picks and whatnot are kind of a special breed. They're real standouts for their age group. But even though you're the best in the world, it's still tough to see an individual go in and light it up and just be as good as they can be. Like you say, at 21 years old, like how many people listening remember when they were 21 years old? Were they dominating a world-renowned, one of the big four North American sports? No, nobody is. So it's just a special breed when guys do that. It's fun to watch. And, Austin Matthews, no stranger to that himself. So they're going to be facing off as well. And lots of storylines, lots of good stuff, and lots of excitement for this game tonight for sure.
If you want to talk phenoms, our guest today knows everything about that. Without further ado, it's time to bring him in. He's widely considered to be one of the greatest professional wrestlers of all time. And on top of that, he's a huge Leafs fan. It's current WWE star, Hall of Famer. Welcome to Leafs Morning, the pride of Orangeville, Ontario, Adam Edge Copeland. Edge, what's going on?
The pride of Orangeville. I don't know. Orangeville might disagree, but and if I'm glitchy, I'm sorry. I live in the mountains. This is my Wi-Fi. This is the life I have.
No, you're so good so far, man. Thank you so much for doing this. Honestly, this is an honor. And piggybacking off what Rosie said, do you remember what you were doing at 21?
I was a moron. Not a lot has changed, but maybe I'm more of a mature moron now. I have white in my beard, so that's my testimony right there, that I'm a little more mature. But yeah, when I was 21, I knew what I wanted to be. And I was making strides toward that, but there's no way I could fathom being at the top of my industry at 21 years old. That's unheard of in our industry and in most, to be honest. I mean, at 21 years old, you've just got your short and curlies. That's ridiculous.
I know, and these guys are ripping it up in the NHL already. Firstly, I hope everything's going well on the home front. I think last we saw you on TV. Your old group, Judgment Day, is just laying a beat down. They're being absolute bastards. We might have to send Rosie after them, by the way. The guy's got some penalty minutes under his belt.
I need a new partner, so.
You never know. WrestleMania. I'll say it right now. But I'm sure you've had some free time, Edge, to watch some Leafs games so far. What have you thought?
I know everybody was hitting the panic button, as is wont to do in Toronto. But it's a long season, right? And the past few years, they kind of started off slow to the gate. So I don't think there's anything to worry about. Goaltending has always been, for the last 5 years, has always seemed to be the issue that crops up. This year, I don't think it was anybody's fault. Like, Murray gets hurt in his first, game, and I thought he looked solid against the Pens, playing against his old team. I'm sure there was probably some nerves there. I thought he made some really saves and kept them in that game. It was 5-2 on paper, but some of those saves, it could have been way different. I thought Samsonov was playing great. I think they're going to be fine in that department. It's just a matter of staying healthy, which seems to be an epidemic across the league right now. I think so much hinges on the fourth line, and I'm liking the look of that fourth line. They get in there, and they've been pushing the pace and keeping it in the opposite end. And if they can do that, it just makes it that much easier for that first line to come out and keep that momentum rolling. I've always said, and take it for what it's worth, because I'm a wrestler with a large head. But to me, playoffs is goalie, fourth line, and your stars firing on all cylinders. And I like I said, it's a long season, but they got some veteran guys. I love the way Ben's been playing, man. Where'd that come from? Like, just all over the place, really pitching in and to try and fill the hole of Muzzin. I think Giordano does that too, but Muzzin's a big hole, man. Like I always say, if Muzzin's on the ice, I feel better. And this year you could tell something just wasn't right. And I can say that just because from the issues that we hear he's had, I've had both of them. So I can kind of relate in that regard. And I more than anything, I just hope that dude's okay. But I always felt better when he was on the ice. So Ben has picked that up.
Oh, definitely. I mean, it's been a tremendous story through the first couple games, and it sounds like you're Mr. Eye Test, which we love to hear. At least I love to hear on this program. You need that grit, you need your pugnacity when it comes, especially to winning in the Stanley Cup playoffs. But since you referenced it, like, your story is so crazy, and I must preface by saying I'm a big time wrestling fan, so I know all about it. I've seen all the documentaries, but what you've gone through, and say even the last 10 to 15 years. Can you give us sort of a picture of and you mentioned you've sort of had the sort of same things that he's had. Could you give sort of a backdrop of what's happening right now when it comes to Muzzin?
Anytime you hear cervical spine, that's scary. That you can't take that back. And I got a triple fusion in my neck, and that was because of spinal stenosis, which is an narrowing of the spinal cord. It basically chokes out your spinal cord. I don't know what exactly he's got going on, but that last hit, it just looked like it cranked his neck. And normally, maybe that wouldn't do what it seems to have done. So it tells me, he's probably got some issues in there, and maybe touching that cord. And the thing with the spinal cord is once you bruise it, it's there. And it doesn't feel great when you bruise your spinal cord. Add to that, concussion issues, which, I've dealt with that too. I've had friends that had to retire for 7 years because of it, and were able to finally, after 7 years, make their way back. Man, it's a different beast altogether. And if you got both of those going on, I don't know. I just really worry about the guy from a personal standpoint. Never met him. Just really respect the way he plays and the kind of teammate he seems to be. But man, end of the day, kids, neck, I don't want to go too far down a road speculating, but neck and head is nothing to mess with.
Rosie?
Yeah, I agree. Adam, I'm sure you want to come here and talk hockey, obviously, but we do that all day. We like to get to some other stuff when we got guests like you. Love the St. Pat shirt, by the way. That's when you know you're a fan. But I wanted to ask you, whenever
I'm gonna throw on one of these.
Yeah, I love it. Whenever athletes hang out with, say, rock stars or singers or entertainers in some way, they always want to say, oh, it'd be so cool to be out there on the ice or on the field. And we're always like, are you kidding me? It'd be unbelievable to be on the stage like you guys are. But when I watch, like, say, Raw, and you guys come down that ramp, and it's like, it's just the biggest show and all eyes are on you. And like, that's what it is. I'm here. People are yelling at me, whether you're a heel or not, or whatever the situation is. Like, that is the entertainment value, where when you're, say, playing for the Maple Leafs, you go out there and you're just focused on your game kind of, and it's kind of an afterthought. But I wanted to say, how would it compare to you, say, what you've done so many times in all the arenas across North America, to come out of that tunnel, say the Tragically Hip are playing, and you come out for the Maple Leafs and you're twirling around the, what I call the Air Canada Center, but Scotiabank.
Scotiabank, yeah, I guess took out the ACC too. Man, it's from Orangeville, right? Like the first concrete memories I have were sitting with my uncles and my grandpa watching the Islanders Leafs in the '78 playoffs. Like, they're a touchstone throughout my life. They're a constant through everything. I think 99% of the kids born in Ontario, at least, that's a dream, right? Is to skate on the ice and to do that. And it would have been great. But I think the comparison for me is, I have theme music. Like, that in itself is just ridiculous. Like, I have theme music, and when people hear it, they react. Like, you can't, if you could bottle it, dude, you'd be a trillionaire. It's got to be, I guess the equivalent maybe would be scoring the overtime winner and making it past the first round this year. That kind of feel. Or maybe Matthews getting 50 last year, coming out at WrestleMania, winning the world title at WrestleMania. That's probably like the 60th.
I like that, man. I was at Raw in August when you were there, man. I still get jacked every time your theme song plays. I'm like, dude, I was trying to hold back tears at the end. You know, when everybody's come out thanking you, and then you did your speech. I'm like, oh my god, what's happening to me, man? You got to be. I won't
It's
lie.
awesome.
I have a weird ability, and I think it's just because as the older I've gotten, and also the story, like people know the story, right? Like I'm not supposed to be doing this yet. Here I am, 9 years after being retired, doing it again. And I think we all understand it's a pretty limited window. You know, it's closing more and more every second. Like I woke up this morning, I was like, I didn't do anything. Like all I did was work out. I really hurt today, you know. So I think that's probably why. Yeah, but here's what's crazy. Like I get those feelings when I watch a Leafs game and the national anthem, you know, and I really miss Martina Luis Ortiz. No offense to anybody, but my God, I miss her voice. And I get just as amped up from that.
Dude, I did some digging. Apparently she moved to LA or something. But yeah, I was going to boycott the team this year and just not watch the broadcast anymore. That's how I felt about it.
It was for like my wife was disappointed, like, you know, because she can sing, so she really appreciated what she was belting out. It was, man, it was so pretty, but I digress.
Yes. So I couldn't believe this. The 25th anniversary of the Montreal Screwjob just passed. So I ask you this question, Edge. I got to tie in some wrestling here. What was the more? Let me do this again. What was the more offensive moment? Kerry Fraser on Gilmore in '93, or the Montreal Screwjob on your dear friend Bret Hart?
Wow, man!
Tough one.
Well, you're evil. How'd you? So I was at the Montreal Screwjob. That was actually the first pay-per-view I was brought to as a talent. And Brett helped get me in the door. So that was a weird, freaky time. And because of like personal, you know, feelings attached to that, maybe I'll edge that in front, no pun intended. However, I was in the Sky Dome watching that game, and it was a packed house. Sky Dome was packed, and ooh, that was a tough one to swallow. Plus Fraser's hair. Just...
You're so bang on with that. You're right. Yeah, that's a tough one. That's why I threw it at you. I want to ask you about Maple Leaf Gardens again. I've watched a lot of your documentaries and stuff like that, and just sort of your attachment to Maple Leaf Gardens. Can you speak on that?
To me, it was. I loved everything about it. I loved the way it felt. I loved the way it smelled. I loved the way the seating. It was almost you were looking down. You know, it wasn't you know, nicely arched back or anything like that. It was just, God, and for wrestling, it was just a single light, the ramp. You'd see the smoke in the air from all the old guys smoking their cigars. This is a special place. It really, really was. You know, I've often like thought, hey, maybe I'll run a show one day in what is now Maple Leaf Gardens, just for my own, you know, poops and chortles, you know, just to feel that, you know.
Rosie, you got another one, bud?
Well, I just wanted to mention you brought up Bret Hart. My claim to fame growing up my whole life was that my mom dated Bret Hart for about 2 dates, and yeah, I know. I tell everybody that growing up because he was my favorite. Me and my brother would dream about getting the shades that he'd give before his match and everything. But my mom dated him. She grew up in Calgary, and 2 dates, and with the caveat that she could bring her friend along. And he was this skinny little kid in Calgary, I guess, at the time, but grew up to do a lot bigger things anyways. But you ever get out?
I've seen those pictures. He had a big afro.
Yeah, exactly. She said he was nothing like he looked like as an adult. But I was curious, do you get to any NHL games on the road, and is your schedule pretty just jam packed, or do you get to fit some hockey in ever?
I'd like to fit more in. I think the last game I went to was Kings Devils, first game of Stanley Cup. So what was that? Like, was that 2012?
10 years ago.
Yeah, that's the last game I got to. You know, I really want to get I want to get up to a Toronto game. I want to see the Leafs play, and you know, I've threatened it quite a bit. I just, you know, managing it with 2 daughters ages 6 and 8 becomes a little more difficult, and then between I'm filming a show out in Vancouver and doing the wrestling, so it all becomes a bit of a juggling act.
For sure. Well, January 27th, me and Nikki are hitting one in the alumni box, so we'll save a ticket for you.
Oh, nice. Don't threaten me with that, man.
Now we'll hold you to
I
that.
might make
Just
it
a
up.
couple. Just a couple more and we'll wrap. Since you mentioned that and wanted to go to a Leafs game, I'm not sure if you caught this, but a colleague of yours, The Rock, yes, Dwayne The Rock Johnson, was at Scotiabank Arena. I don't know if you caught this, man. He screwed up the chant.
Let's
I
go
don't know how
Leafs.
you screw up "Go Leafs Go," but how'd you feel about "Let's Go Leafs"? The hell was that?
Well, I was like, oh man, nobody buzzed him. Nobody buzzed him beforehand. But I mean, hey, with him, like, I think for a couple of games, people actually started doing it. so, so he actually almost got something going. The other chant hasn't been around for like, I don't know, 70 years, then maybe it would have stuck. But yeah, Let's Go Leafs doesn't, I don't know, it just doesn't roll quite.
No, "Go Leafs Go" is the way to go. You're right. It's The Rock, so people are like, okay, that works, whatever. And lastly,
We'll give him some grace.
Yeah, he is there. Oh, he'll kick my ass pretty much. So again, I was at Raw in Toronto in August. I'll leave you with this. You hinted at a possible retirement, which was tough to take for a wrestling fan and an Edge fan like me. But anything else you can share about the potential? Even what would it mean to you to end your career where it all started?
Well, that's the key. You know, the first time I was told you gotta hang it up. That's it. You're done. And it was WrestleMania, and I retired world champ, and that sounds Cinderella, but I just didn't know, and that made it hard to chew on all those years, you know. But I had to accept it and move on with what life is now, and started an amazing, beautiful family, and the acting thing started to kind of take a little. But when I had the chance to get this back, the first thing I thought is, I want to retire in Toronto. You know, because again, I know the window's not open for long, but if I can do it there, I think then I'll be able to go, right, I'm good. That was the last thing to kind of check off. You know, I didn't come back to like win 4 more championships or anything like that. I really just came back to have fun, try and help teach a new generation of talent that I never got my hands on before. And I always say we're not really, I call us storytellers. And come back and tell a hell of a story for 3 or 4 years, and then right off into the sunset and catch a whole hell of a lot more Leaf games.
Yeah, with us, exactly. With us, maybe have a pop or two. You never know. Man,
There we
this has
go.
been an absolute. Now we're talking, right? This has been an absolute blast. So we're going to have you on again in the second half of the season for sure. There's just so much I want to get to, certainly with this Leafs team, trying to rid ourselves of an 18-year curse of winning a round in the Stanley Cup playoffs. So appreciate the time, and we'll talk soon, okay, bud?
All right. Thanks, guys. Take care.
Thanks, Adam.
Our pleasure. Adam Copeland, Edge of Orangeville, Ontario, and WWE Superstar Hall of Famer. That guy's everything, man. He's amazing on the mic. He's amazing technically in the ring. As you're there, the unique relationship with Bret Hart, that was sort of his idol growing up too.
Yeah, too cool, eh? Yeah, what a guy, man. You can tell he really loves hockey, loves the Leafs. He's knowledgeable. And then just the way he speaks and what character he has is you can see why he's had so much bloody success over the last, like 30 years. So pretty
Yeah,
wicked guy. I hope we get him on again for sure.
we will for sure. And with that in mind, the wrap up is brought to you by our friends at PointsBet Canada. I'm not sure if you've been tuned in. I know you've been working quite a bit. You were in the air as well. I'm 2-1 so far in the week. My Tim Stützle shot prop didn't hit yesterday, but I'm getting back on track, and you're going to be surprised where I go with this one, Rosie. Give me an anytime Austin Matthews goal, plus 100, 12 goals in 12 career games against New Jersey. He has 1 in 5, and he had 60 tucks in the 73 games last year. I'm going back to the well. I know we've tried to hit this a couple times this year, but from my perspective, you can't keep this guy down forever. And I wonder if playing his buddy Jack Hughes ignites him tonight. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, I like it. What do you get? An anytime goal scorer plus 100? Yeah, for sure, man. I mean, his numbers were bad back when we were trying to hit him in October, and he's obviously, off to a little bit of a slow start. But we cooled off on him for a while. You went to some other things, no doubt. Why
Hmm.
wouldn't you go back to the well? I remember anytime you got a pick for a goal scorer tonight, it's like, why wouldn't you pick one of the best goal scorers on the planet, right? So I love it. I saw that you missed yesterday. I mean, what I
Yeah.
think he had, 1-1 at least, and only gave you one shot. What a piss off, hey! So tough loss yesterday, but anytime you're going with Austin Matthews to score a goal in the National League, I think nobody can argue with that.
Yeah, I was watching intently. It was the empty netter that Stützle scored. He wasn't firing the puck for
Okay.
some reason. Buffalo sucks, by the way. They've lost 7 in a row. But regardless, that's what I'm on tonight. Just looking at the chat before we wrap up, Flynn writes in, I'm dying to hear your takes on the crease. We talked about that the first 5 to 7 minutes of the show. Lauren writes in, time to crush a coffee and some cinnamon toast crunch watching Leafs morning take. That's what we love to hear, right, Rosie?
Nice breakfast, girl. Wow, I'm jealous.
Yeah, I like it too. Flynn also writes in, my God, that man looks like he eats the bones off his enemies. It's probably because he does. Speaking about Edge, the guy's a big, big boy.
Oh, I thought he was talking about you.
Yeah, I do look grizzly with this beard. I got to bring the muzzy back. Anyways, Rosie, excellent stuff. I guess you'll get back at it with the fam here at Disneyland and tune in for the game tonight. The Leafs and the Devils. New Jersey has won 10 in a row, man. Does that heat or end tonight, in your opinion?
I say, why the hell not? I mean, my heart's with the Leafs. They're playing solid. They got some goaltending going on. They're hot, and it's time for those dickhead Devils to fall from grace.
I like that nickname, the Dickhead Devils. And I don't know if Vegas knows something, by the way, but I don't know a team that's won 10 in a row rolls into Toronto when they're the definitive underdog. But that's where you're looking at tonight. So honestly, and I hate saying this, there's more value in betting on New Jersey than there is in the Toronto Maple Leafs. But we say that every time we're out. So anyways, many thanks to Adam Edge Copeland for dropping by, for you, Rosie, for hopping in here from Disneyland. We'll get back to it tomorrow. For Jay Rosehill, I'm Nick Alberga. Thanks so much for watching and listening, and we'll talk on Friday. Take care.